Good morning, everyone. This is Tim Wilmot speaking from Wizard Systems. Thanks for joining me today for GoldMine 101, our regular series of GoldMine presentations. And this morning, I'm going to focus on the Relationships tab in GoldMine, a great way of managing multiple contacts in organizations. Now, this presentation will be approximately a quarter of an hour or so. It's just an overview of this feature. It's not meant to be in-depth training. My company, Wizard Systems, offer many extensive training options if you need them. Now, on the call today, we've got various people on all sorts of different versions of GoldMine. There's approximately, well over 50 people on the call. And I'm going to be showing you the latest version. Pretty much everything I say is relevant to all versions of GoldMine. The Relationships tab is referred to differently in older versions. For example, the organization tree, if you're running a really old version of GoldMine there, but in all recent releases of GoldMine, it's called the Relationships tab or the Relationships tree. Now, the audio part of this presentation is one way only. If you've got any questions, please type those into the question box on your meeting control panel, and I'll do my best to answer those at the end. It's probably best to type them in as soon as you think of them rather than waiting to the last minute. Sometimes people post some questions just as I'm terminating the presentation. If that does happen, I'm not ignoring you. I'll answer you separately via email after the session. Also, the session, I'll give you some update on GoldMine product news. The session is also going to be recorded. After the presentation, you'll receive an email with a link to the recording, which you can share with your colleagues, and we'll most likely post it up to our YouTube channel as well. Okay, so let's get started then. First of all, just a very brief mention, as I normally do, a mention about my company, Wizard Systems. We've been implementing GoldMine solutions now for 22 years. We've implemented well over 3,000 systems all over the UK and further afield as well. We offer extensive services around GoldMine. We don't just supply the product. We want to make sure that you get the most out of your investment. So we do offer implementation services, helping you customize the GoldMine system to your requirements, setting up new GoldMine systems, help on reporting, importing data, and so on. We also provide extensive GoldMine training options. We can train you at your place, you can come to our place, or we can do it online. And we have a nice, friendly, responsive help desk here. So we're just a short call or email or contact away from you to make sure that if any issue does happen with your GoldMine system, we provide a rapid solution for you. Okay, so let's dive into our presentation this morning on the Relationships tab. So here is GoldMine Premium Edition, latest version, and as you can see on the main tab bar, on a contact record, we have the Relationships tab. Here's one I created earlier. So this is a great feature of GoldMine to, in a more elegant way, manage multiple contacts in an organization. Traditionally, GoldMine has always had, and there's two ways of managing multiple contacts within a company. If you're dealing with an organization and there's more than one key person that you want to deal with, the question is, how do you manage and store and maintain relationships between these multiple contacts that belong to the same company? Well, GoldMine has always had the additional contacts tab. So we have, of course, GoldMine being a contact-centric system, there's the base unit of any information in GoldMine is the contact, in this case, Tim Wilmot here. And Tim Wilmot may be the primary contact in this company, but we have these other miscellaneous additional contacts that we, of course, we have a thirst to record these people. We never know when these people might be important to us in a selling or service or marketing situation. So GoldMine's always had this additional contacts tab to maintain basic records of these extra people. So let me introduce to you the Relationships tab, which is where we are maintaining separate contact records for all of the different people in that company, yet joined together. Visually, we can see them, they're joined together, we can see their relationships, and we can provide some richer information as regards who these people are, what departments they work in, and so on. So within this Relationships tab here, we can see the company, Wizard Systems Limited, and below that there are sections. Just like Windows Explorer, you've got this hierarchy of this company and those little sections there, which you can of course expand out. And here, the marketing department, we can click on a contact within the marketing department, Daniel Savage here, and of course in the top part of the screen that instantly changes to show that particular person. So a great way of visually laying out all of those people and those different contacts there. And you can see we're providing some basic information about these people, including their phone number and email address. Incidentally, you can click into any of these entries and click a couple of times, and that allows you to edit that display. So I could put in here, for example, main marketing contact, for example. Click away, that saves that entry. It's not actually going to change the base contact record, but from a display purpose, we can then see, I can see, my colleagues can see who is the main contact, who should we be dealing with in that marketing section there. So that is a quick display there of the organization tree. Now, a few things that you can do with the organization tree. In fact, three main things. What I'm going to cover here is three features called Activate, the Rollup feature, and replicating data. Activate works with, and you may be familiar with, filters and groups in GoldMine. Activate allows you to create quickly on the fly a little filter group of the contacts within that organization tree, that relationship tree, or that particular section. So I can quickly group these contacts together for some purpose. Maybe it's a marketing purpose, or I want to schedule a call to them. For example, it's a quicker way really of doing that than creating a filter. And then remember to release it when you're done. So activate it and release it when you're done. The Rollup feature. Now, going back to what I said earlier, we've got all these separate contacts joined together with this relationship tree, and all these separate contact records have their own individual histories. So here's the history for Tim Wilmot, for example. And other contact records within the tree will have their own histories and pending activities and opportunities and so on, other related information. So the Rollup feature is a way of combining, rolling up temporarily, displaying all together on one screen all of the activities, related information across these multiple contacts. So if I click on this Rollup button here, you can also right click and go to Rollup here. Same thing, but you click on Rollup, and that will, when you click on one of those tabs, it will now combine all of the records across all of the contacts within that relationship tree. It's a nice way of getting that single view there of all of those contacts. So that's Rollup. Next one, the third feature, is replicate data. Now, again, going back to what I said earlier, these being separate contact records, let's imagine that you want to change some information that's relevant to all contacts within this company. Maybe, for example, the salesperson changes, the account manager changes, the ownership changes against this company. And we're maintaining multiple records of all the contacts records relating to the company. Of course, we could change them one by one, but if you've got many, many records, that could be quite time consuming. So the replicate data function saves you time. You basically change the top record. So in any organization tree, you have the primary record. In this example, this is Tim Wilmot here. This is the record I first created. When I first created the organization tree, that is deemed to be the primary record. You can change that, of course, if you want to. So I can now change the salesperson relating to this company. You just do it once. Let's say change it to Keith. Save that, and then right-click and go to replicate data. And this is where you're prompted with this little dialog box here. What field or fields do you want to now change, filter down through and change in one process all of the associated contact records within this relationship tree? Well, I want to change the account manager field here. I click OK, just a confirmation there. And there we are, job done. If I now go to any contact record in this tree, they're all changed there. So a quick way of maintaining consistent information across all these different contacts within a section or within that tree. So that's a tree that's already been created. How do you create the trees? Well, a couple of main ways that you can do that. You can, going back to these additional contacts here, you can, in promoting a miscellaneous contact to a primary contact, in inverted commas, you can in that process also create the organization tree. So if I highlight Barry here, let's say Barry is becoming more important to us and we want to start recording more information about Barry in our dealings with this company. So we could convert, we can promote Barry into a proper contact record and thereby store more information specific to Barry. But in so doing, I can be prompted to create the organization tree here as well in that process. Another way of creating the relationship tree, which is probably more common and gives you more options, is as follows. So you go to a blank record, which doesn't have a tree here. So Glenn here at ABC, you click on that relationships tab here, and we right click somewhere in the relationship tree area and create a new organization from this little pop-up menu. So we just confirm this to create that initial entry and job done. There we are. We've created the organization record and Glenn here is our first contact in this company. And then you can add contacts to this tree here, or I can right click over a section or contact and go up to, from the local menu here, do you see new contact? That's where I could create a brand new contact and link it to this organization tree. Or maybe I've got some additional contacts and I may want to link them in that way. You might have contacts floating around in your GoldMine system and you want to bring them into this new tree here. So that's the relationships tab, a quick overview there and some reasons why you'd want to use it. As I normally do in this point of the presentation, I return to offer you any, if you want to ask me any questions specifically about the relationships tree or how you manage multiple contacts in your GoldMine system, but I'm more than happy to answer any question within reason about GoldMine. So if you please locate your question section. So first question from Malcolm: why would I use the activate rather than a group? Well, it's just a quick way of locating all of the records within a company. Yes, you could use a group, but you will find it's a quicker way, Malcolm. Next question from Austin: can you import relationships? not with the standard GoldMine import feature, but there is an add-on tool that we can supply you, Austin, that does allow you to import relationships. If you've got that relationship defined in, say, an Excel spreadsheet or some other database, yes, it is possible to create those relationships on the import of new client records into your GoldMine system. Next question from, looks like Luann. I have lots of organization trees to create. Is there any faster way of doing that rather than the right-click way you suggested? You can also drag and drop from your contact window. Let me just see if I can show you that, Luann. So here's my organization tree from your contact search center. If I just split these windows up, and so we've got the separate windows here of the contact and my GoldMine contact search center, you can now drag and drop contacts into the tree here. Do you see that? So you do your search, little search there, and drag and drop them in. So a quick way of using that alternate approach to add contacts to your ready-made tree. Let's just go back to my questions. Hopefully that answers your question there, Luann. Next question from Tariq. How do you get upgrades to GoldMine? Tariq, the only way of getting upgrades to GoldMine is to have an annual maintenance contract through us. We can supply pricing to you. I'll send you a little email after this call about that the maintenance option with GoldMine to get latest updates. Question from Corinne. I see you have a products tab in GoldMine. How do I get that? It's just a custom tab. You can, across that tab bar, it is possible to create custom tabs displaying information that's specific to you and your company. I think we have featured that on a previous presentation, but that might be a good idea for a follow-up week there. Next question from Shirley. In relationships, the whole field is empty. How do I create those fields folders? You can, well, Shirley, just right-click somewhere in that tree to create those folders, and if it does come in blank, you can click into that entry and type something in. So hopefully, if I understood your question correctly, that's the way of doing that. Next question from Dean. Can you email directly to other contacts as that was not possible before? Yes, you can, Dean. You can email additional contacts in an email marketing exercise, and if you have created that organization tree there, using that, remember I mentioned the activate feature that groups together those multiple contacts for a mailing purpose. So that's another way of sending emails to those contacts. But yes, certainly you can email anyone in the GoldMine system. Next question from Sally. When you edit the name in the relationship tab in the tree, if it has an email address like Karen has, mine sometimes goes all wonky and sort of seems to run out of letters. How come some have the email and some don't? I think it was down to the creation. This is being a demonstration system, Sally. Some of these records were created some time ago. Some may not have a primary email address, so that's where some of these records didn't display an email address. Next question from Shirley. Where does the tree come from? How do I create it? Well, click on the Relationships tab, which may be blank with that record, and you'd start with the prime record. So imagine you've got the contact in front of you. It's a main contact in this company. You right-click on that Relationships tab screen area somewhere, and you'll see a little local menu to create that new tab there. Next question from Jeffrey. Yes, I'll send you a link to the recording, Jeffrey. Thanks very much for watching. I'll send that to you. Next question from Samantha. When you showed the roll-up feature, I couldn't see what changed. Can you recap, please? Yes, Samantha, let me just hang on a second. Let me go back to my little demo system here. So let's just double click here, get back to where I was. Let's go to a record. And so if you're following me on this, if I want to now see all of the activities relating to Wizard Systems, I can right click here and select Roll Up from this local menu. Alternatively, you can click on this Roll Up button here if you see this on your tab bar there. So those are the two ways of getting to that, Samantha. Next question from Derek. Could you add, say, all 20 contacts from a sales office quickly to a relationship tree? Yes, you could if they were all on the additional contacts tab. That could be done if you had the additional contacts tab and those 20 miscellaneous contacts displayed there, then by right-clicking. Yes, Derek, that could be a way of converting them all into an organization tree. Or maybe use that drag and drop. Who was it that asked that question? Luann, I think it was. Use that drag and drop method. So if you have those 20 contacts displayed in your contact search center, remember that drag and drop way, another quick way of creating them. Next question from Ian. Relationships are for internal contacts, whilst referrals are for links between external contacts, if I understand correctly. Well, it's up to your own interpretation, Ian. Every company uses GoldMine in subtly different ways. I think that the main thing is consistency. If you choose on one way of doing something in GoldMine, then just make it consistent. Referrals, I would say the relationships tree is more, now in later releases of GoldMine, is a more popular way of managing multiple contacts in a company rather than the referrals tab that you mentioned there. But the choice is yours. It's entirely up to you. Who's to say who's right or wrong, as long as it's consistent there. Next question from Jeffrey. I have lots of additional contacts in my contact records, but no relationship set up. Once set up, can you search those contacts by contact name? Yes, you can, in the normal way. Very easily done. Next question from Andy. I have GoldMine, but each contact has a separate record. Should I consider merging them into one company? Well, the choice is yours, Andy. It might make for, perhaps you could argue, a simpler GoldMine system rather than having these multiple contact records. So you'd have one record for the company and everyone on the additional contacts tab there. Entirely up to you. And some companies, in fact, in our own company, we use GoldMine internally, and you could have a mix and match. So where you've got maybe companies that you don't have too many dealings with, maybe you use the additional contacts approach to maintain records of all of the people in that company. But if you have a top customer, or maybe that client has got different sites, different offices around a territory, a country, then maybe you might adopt the relationships tree approach to maintain separate records for those branches or contacts, but link them to their relationship tree. Next question from Tracy. How do I split a screen? You can click on this little button here, which will allow you to split these windows up, rather like the older versions of GoldMine from some years back. So here we are, we've got separate windows floating around on our GoldMine desktop. And if you want to revert back to that tabbed approach, just double click on the header, on the top title bar of any window, and that docks it, and we've got back to that more familiar tabbed approach there. So that's that feature to split them up. Next question from Philip. Wow, there's lots of questions today. That's really good. So for companies with many branches, is creating relationship tree simply an option to using referrals? Kind of, I would say, Philip, yeah, relationship tree would be a better way. If you've got a company with multiple branches around the country and different, information, different locations, and so on, the relationship tree would be a more popular way, more elegant way of managing those relationships, managing that information. Much better than referrals. Next question from Shirley. You just mentioned linking multiple sites through the relationship tree. How do I do that? It's the same way as I created those contacts. You can create a new contact here. If you want to create a new section, let's say we've got a new branch, so we right click here, we create a new section, and we call it whatever we want to. Let's say call this finance. Click OK. There we are. There's my finance section, a blank section, no one in there, ready for me to drag and drop, or as we went before, adding a new contact to that finance section. Okay. Oh, next question from Jeffrey. To be able to add an additional contact to the relationships tab, do I first have to convert to a contact record, and then is there a more direct method? The method I showed you should allow you to try it on your own GoldMine system, convert to record here, and that should allow you to create that organization tree there. Okay, I don't think there's any more questions coming through. Just while everyone's still on the call, just to bring you up to date with some GoldMine product news. We are expecting on the 12th of November, we've had this briefly confirmed from GoldMine that the next major release of GoldMine 2015.2, so we're currently on 2015.1, that's the current release of GoldMine, and we have these monthly hot fixes that I've referred to in previous presentations. But the next major one, and we have had a couple of major releases every year. So this is .2 due in November. This will have a lot of extra cloud functionality in this, and we will focus on this in more detail when this has finally been released later in November. We will cover this latest release, so stay tuned for that. But this latest release will have a lot more functionality in the cloud area. So built into GoldMine now is the ability to access and use GoldMine Web. So this is its cloud element. GoldMine is still installed somewhere, but wherever you are, you have access to your critical GoldMine information via any browser. A nice, simple way, quick way of accessing your GoldMine system wherever you are. So that's GoldMine Web, all part of GoldMine, and have a lot more functionality built into that. This will also have Windows 10 compatibility. Confirmed that will be in this next major release. We're still being asked questions about Office 2016 if anyone's upgraded this. So if you are using the integration between GoldMine and Word, Excel, Outlook, of course, try if this integration, if you're using 2013 right now or 365, try and hold back on any upgrades, otherwise that link will be broken. We don't have any news yet on confirmed compatibility with 2016, but stay tuned. That will inevitably come in my experience of working with GoldMine over 22 years. It will inevitably come in. You just got to wait. We'll let you know as soon as that will be announced. We have an introduction training course on the 11th of November, really popular course. If you've got any new starters in your company, we have small class sizes. This will be at our Bristol location, be very welcome to send any newbies that you've got there, any new starters on GoldMine, and we'll take you through all the day-to-day functionality of using GoldMine, so ready and fired up when they leave that course. Also, any suggestions for future topics, please email me. My name again is Tim Wilmot. Email address tim@wizard-systems.com. I have seen some more questions coming through there. I will answer those via email right after this call. So please bear with me. Thanks very much for all your questions this morning. Please stay tuned for our next GoldMine presentation. It may not be next week. It may be in 2 weeks' time. So watch out for an invitation that will go out a few days before that Tuesday session. So once again, thanks very much for your support of GoldMine and Wizard Systems, and for attending this morning. Thanks for those great questions. Have a nice day, and we'll speak to you soon. Thank you very much indeed.